Welcome to 50 Plus in Montgomery County, a monthly program that is a voice for many, produced by the Commission on Aging, of which I'm a community member. This show is insightful for people of all ages, and each episode takes a fresh look at important issues by spotlighting older adults in the community, representatives of services and programs, and activities of interest to older adults. My name is Katie. On this month's show, we're going to talk about employment for older adults. Today's guest is Jody Rash. Jody is the director of the Career Gateway and Career Tech programs and the virtual 50 Plus Employment Expos at the Jewish Council for the Aging, also known as JC8. Hi, Jody.
Hi, Katie. Thank you.
Welcome. Well, I'm glad to talk to you today and really have this timely discussion. But let's do some foundation setting.
Sure.
What is the JCA?
The Jewish Council for the Aging is a nonprofit. It has been around, we're celebrating our 52nd year. We are one of the first organizations to really meet those needs of our aging population. And we really support the notion that as we age, we can live in place, or we can extend our longevity to produce a community of support. And so we have programming that supports our 50 and better community. And
tell us about that program.
Sure, I would love to. We have many programs that benefit our 50 plus community. We have our Interagers program, where that addresses really bringing youth together with our 50 plus community in many ways, where the 50 plus can be a mentor to the youth, like either as in high school, they can give counseling and support. They could also, our volunteers go into the school systems. They read books to elementary school age children. There's programming where there's a pen pal program where they connect with youth and kind of just kind of get, closing the gap at that intergenerational gap. And so really so that we all live in the same community, and it's nice that we should support one another, and aging can be a wonderful thing, and that it's great to connect with youth, because as we're aging, loneliness sometimes can come in if you're isolated, and so there could be a our youth can be just a wonderful component to supporting as we're aging.
Oh, yes.
And so we have other programs as well. Yeah. We have adult day programs. So we have the Kensington Club and our Kesher Cafe, which is a newer component to our adult day programs. And Kensington Club really supports those individuals with early cognitive issues. And they come in and for 4 hours at a time, have lunch, they have a community, they do different projects, they have speakers who come in, they do music, and really to keep them engaged in a sense of belonging in a community, as well as a respite for their caregivers. Okay. And then we have the Kesher Cafe, which is new, and it is now one of the first programs in Montgomery County where we're supporting our younger individuals with dementia. So it could be from like even 30 to 60, but it's the needs of those who have cognitive issues as a youth, as younger, is different than someone who's 80, 85. So it's a nice way where they can have a community as well, a sense of belonging, and also a respite for their caregivers as well. Yes. So that is just, it's a program that's thriving, and it's we have 3 locations in Montgomery County, one out of our own headquarters. Okay. Then we have transportation programming, where we have our own buses to transport from the senior community centers. We have programming like if you need ride on, if you need a ride and you need connection to go to a doctor's appointment, to go to the grocery store, we have that ability to help our 50 plus in the community. We have our education and referral services, and which will be our senior helpline, okay, which is a wonderful referral system where you can call up and say, I have a housing issue and I don't know who to call, and they can help you, and they can give you like referrals. Or my lights turned off and I don't know who to call. Yes. So it's a wonderful referral system, and that's part of our programming, and also our senior Senior Health Insurance Program, SHIP.
Okay.
And that is also provides help to our 65 plus when they need Medicare and discussions and questions about health insurance. It also deals with, like, I don't know which policy to get for my subscription, my prescriptions. So, and that helps also anyone 65 and older, as well as adults under 65 who have a disability. So these are wonderful programs, really kind of providing a whole network of resources for our community.
Wow.
And then, of course, where I'm here to talk about is our employment programs. And we have the Career Gateway, our virtual 50-plus employment expos, our career tech programming, and then, of course, our CSEP program, which is Senior Community Employment Services Program. And so that is kind of a touch upon all of our programming, and I'd be happy to go into detail about our employment programs as well.
Yes, that's a lot. So Jody, you mentioned SHIP, you mentioned education and the referral program, transportation, I'm trying to run it back, the Kensington Club, the Kesher Institute, is it?
Yeah, Kesher Cafe.
Kesher Cafe, and then the Heyman Interages Center. Wow, that's so much. And I'll say just briefly that the Heyman Interages resonates well with the 50-plus community here, as well as with the Commission on Aging. As you know, Austin Heyman was a former host of this show, and we honored him last month. So thank you so much for mentioning that.
Yes, of course. And in fact, our center is the Austin Heyman, Center.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's talk a little bit more in detail about the 50-plus expos
Sure.
and the Career Gateway. Tell us in detail about those programs.
Sure. So our virtual 50-plus employment expos are open to all 50-plus job seekers.
Okay.
And we have, really now we have 10 throughout the year. They start in September and in June, and we have a break in December. But pretty much they run from 10 to 3 or 10 to 4, depending on the number of employers. They are free to our job seekers to participate. They are free to the employers to participate. And we're always looking for wonderful employers to join us who are age friendly, who have 3 or more job opportunities, and who have just a short period of time. That it's not a big time commitment on the part of the employer. It's really a 30-minute commitment on the day of, and it's virtual, so they can be wherever they want to be. And it's 10 minutes before the presentation, 10 minutes for a presentation with their job opportunities and a little bit about your company or your nonprofit, and then 10 minutes to kind of jump into chat and to interact with the job seekers. But how the program is really set up is, so from 10 to noon, we have 2 workshops on topics that would be beneficial to the job seeker. Like one time we had a couple times we've had like Montgomery County HR come and present the job opportunities in Montgomery County, and they've also been a presenter and talking about like how to get a job and how do you fill out an application here,
right.
and so, which is extremely helpful. And then so we have the 2 workshops in the morning, and then starting at noon to 3 or the end time, the employers come and present, and they present in typically 10-minute increments. But if it's a bigger employer like Adventist Healthcare, who's the largest employer in Montgomery County, we then give them more time so they can present all the opportunities. We keep the expos as interactive as possible. So as they are presenting, we have our job seekers in chat, writing, typing, putting in their questions. Then our consultant, Ann Happ, and myself facilitate. We read the questions when they're done with the presentation. Then we read the questions to them, and then they're addressed. And then after they're done with their allotted time, then we ask them to jump into chat and to answer any unanswered questions that weren't addressed during that time frame. And then we also say, this is the time where you can network. Job seekers, if this is an employer you want to connect with, here they are, and they'll talk to you. And that is really the wonderful thing of the program. And also the virtual aspect of the program really, some people say, I missed the in-person. However, this has been so effective because how we've set it up is that anyone who attends the expo, they all hear the workshops. There's not an employer there presenting yet, and then after the workshops, then you have the time frame. There's no interruption. You can be there for all the employers, and something that we do as a follow-up is when you anyone who registers for the expo gets a huge email blast afterwards with all the pertinent information from that day. They'll get the employers' names, they'll get the contact information, they'll get links to the job opportunities that they came with, they'll get resources. If there's like a community event that's coming up, we put that in. Some employers who are smaller, maybe only had one job opportunity, we highlight them in that so people can apply. So that kind of takeaway is wonderful, and so everyone they know that they'll get this follow-up information, and now we're also recording the workshops, and so those are available to them. We put them on our website, and they can kind of watch get all that information from those valuable workshops. So it's been such a success, and the numbers are growing. We typically, we're with Montgomery County. We typically would get 400 or 500 people, and registrants, and now our last expo was over 700.
That's a lot of people.
We had 15 employers and over 700 registrants, and that expo went way past 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we do try, especially as we're on the tail end of our expos, we do try to accommodate all the employers who are interested, because we want to get them the opportunity to get these job opportunities out to our job seekers. And we have 3 remaining expos for this fiscal year.
Okay.
We have one next week out of Howard County, May 1st, and it starts at 10, and right now it's scheduled till 3, could go to 3:30.
Depending on the number of registrants.
and employers. And then we have 2 out of Montgomery County. So we have one May 13th, and then we have another one June 17th. And you do not have to, you can live in Montgomery County, you don't have to live in Montgomery County to attend, because it's virtual. So, because people might want to work in Montgomery County who don't live in Montgomery County. So we give everyone the opportunity to attend and hear about these great employers that we have and the terrific opportunities. And it's really it's kind of a win-win for both the employer and the job seeker, because we are providing this huge platform for the employers to get the word out about who they are and the job opportunities that they have. And then we're giving them these wonderful and talented job seekers with expertise and experience, and individuals who really are looking to work. And as I might have mentioned before, but the job opportunities that we provide run the gamut. So they're entry level, mid-level management, senior executive, and yes, they're for-profits, they're for nonprofits. And sometimes I think the beauty of these expos is that you might not know what your next opportunity is going to be.
Right.
And as a 50 and better job seeker, a lot of us are kind of thinking to transition, to maybe take those transferable skills and move them to another opportunity. And so I always say, if you're not sure, just come to the expo, because you're going to hear from great employers, and you're going to hear all these different job opportunities that you might not have any thought of. And really, the only person limiting you to your next opportunity is yourself. You might think that you need to do X, Y, and Z, but that might not be what you're seeing, and you might want to be doing Y. And so you should give your opportunity to explore, and that's what these expos really provide, because they're providing all types of opportunities.
I really like that there is a variety of opportunity for people to choose from, to navigate, and just to consider. And as you stated, maybe something that perhaps they didn't think about before.
Exactly.
So that's great.
Exactly.
Tell us about the employer. Let's hone in on that a little bit more.
Sure.
I'm just curious, how do the employers know that JCA exists and that they can participate in these expos?
Well, one, we've been doing this for a long time. We did in person maybe for like 15, 20 years.
Okay.
And then obviously with COVID, then we pivoted. But we advertise. The Bethesda Chevy Chase Chamber of Commerce is very kind. They advertise for us, with their employers. Hey, do you have job opportunities? This is available to you. you know, so and we have a lot of repeat customers now because they are hiring. They come back because they are successful in hiring our job seekers. So it's working. You know, and you know, we love when we get a new employer, and we're always looking for IT companies, government contractors. You know, we have, as I mentioned, Adventist Healthcare, Montgomery County Government. You know, we have just, you know, smaller employers. We have careers and nonprofits. So we really provide opportunities that run the gamut.
Okay.
And of course, I'm not sure if I mentioned, but our Expos registration is free. It's free for our job seekers. It's free for the employers. And it's very easy to register as an employer. You just go on our website, accessjca.org, and employer, you go then to the employment programs, and you'll see very easy for an employer to register. And then for as well as for the job seeker.
Okay. Now there's an abundance of talent in Montgomery County, but you
Definitely.
also mentioned, I heard you say Howard County. Do you also host expos anywhere else, particularly like Virginia?
Yes.
To bring folks back here.
And yes, so we hold 3 Northern Virginia expos.
Okay.
We just completed our last one for the year. It was April 10th.
Okay.
We had like over 600 attendees for registrants for that expo, and we had 15 employers. It was a great event, and we had one in October, and then we had one in February. Okay. So we split them up, and then new to our lineup is our Howard County lineup, and that is on next week, May 1st. And again, you could go on our website, register. You don't have to live in Howard County to participate, but the employers are in that area. So, but there's some great opportunities, and you know, we're thrilled to be able to kind of expand our reach to help our 50+ community in all these different places.
And Jody, I want you to reiterate, so beyond May 1st, the one that's going to be in Howard County, you will have a few more in the remainder of the year.
Yes,
Okay.
in Montgomery County, we have 2 remaining. We have one May 13th, and that is out of Montgomery County.
Okay.
And currently, I think we have 20 employers.
That's a lot. I love that.
So that event starts at 10, and we'll have
Okay.
2 morning workshops. And you know, we'll have a better idea as it gets a little closer as to the end time, but it'll probably around 4. And then we have our final one for this fiscal year, which will be June 17th,
Okay.
and that's out of Montgomery County as well.
Okay.
And registration for the Howard County and the 2 Montgomery County expos are open.
Okay.
And as I said, they are free, but you need to register in order to get that Zoom link.
Okay. Is there a cost with attending any of your other programming?
Yes. So,
Okay.
nothing for the expos.
Okay.
Free to both the employer and the job seeker. We have. I can tell you more about our Career Gateway program.
Yes, let's hear about it.
Which is our 5-day job search skills training
Okay.
program for the professional who's looking to re-enter the workplace or perhaps transition into a new career. And we've seen definitely an uptick in those federal employees who are now needing that transition from the government to the private sector.
Yes.
And this is the program. This is the program for all these 50 and better professionals. We touch upon all aspects of the job search, from your resume to your interviewing skills, to your networking skills, to how to use LinkedIn more effectively in your job search. It comes with course curriculum that we created. It's 11 chapters of wonderful information. It's a great resource to have when you complete the program. It's kind of, you know, you'll always have that with you. We give you actually a hard copy. We give it to you on a flash drive, so you have it in both formats.
Great.
We'll do like a resume review on day 2 of the program, where you will be paired one-on-one with 4 to 5 different professionals who will give you feedback and input on your resume. And I always say it's like an opportunity to really have a conversation about you and your next step and how to best achieve that.
Okay.
We also do a demonstration interview with one of the class participants for a job that he or she would like to apply. That is conducted in front of the class on Zoom by a panel of HR specialists. And when that is concluded, then we open up the facilitated discussion to the entire class to kind of get their input and feedback about what they saw kind of critiquing and all with love, but kind of like what went right, what went wrong. Great opportunity to ask the interviewers, hey, why did you ask that question? Were you satisfied with the answer? What were you hoping to hear? So just kind of get a bird's eye view on a live interview. And then we then open up the discussion in another way to the entire class. We ask everyone to bring in those 1 or 2 dreaded interview questions that you hope and pray won't be asked, that undoubtedly always will be asked. And we kind of help take that fear out of answering that question.
Yes.
Because if you are not prepared and if you're so nervous, then when someone asks you a question, you ramble.
Yeah. What's your strength? What's your weakness?
Right. And they'll ask, there are certain questions that are asked in every interview, and if it might be for 50 and better, like why do you have this career gap, or were you terminated? Just different questions that you get hot under the collar.
Yes.
And so we can help you. We with the other facilitated professionals who are facilitating this discussion. They'll help you come up with like a precise answer so that you can answer that question and then move on into the interview where you'll really shine.
Okay.
So that is another wonderful component of the program. And with all of that, in addition to the resume review, we have a mentoring component. So when you finish the 5-day program, we don't just leave you. We provide you support as you are on this journey. And that mentor will kind of help you continue with the momentum of the program to keep you moving forward in your job search. You'll be paired with them one-on-one for about 3 months. You'll work with them. And basically, that is your kind of lifeline. That is your support. That is your individual cheerleader. And you can, because we're virtual, you can meet virtually, you can meet in person, you can meet by phone, however that you and your mentor want to do. And that's all part of this whole program. The fee, there is a registration fee for the Career Gateway. It is a nominal fee, it's $75.
Okay.
But we do recognize the fact that, for some that's an insurmountable cost, especially as people are being laid off and whatnot. So we never turn away anyone because of registration fee. We offer full scholarships or a sliding scale to what they can afford, and that is always provided. And so because we know, for some, it might not be an issue, for others it is. And we always say, this program was brought about because there was a need for programming to support our professionals. Because everyone would typically think, oh, they've got a degree, they've got a graduate degree, they have an undergraduate degree, whatever. But a degree does not insulate you from being homeless.
That's right.
And we've had people who have been economically stressed in our program, where they are a moment away from being homeless. And so, we want to support them and, to get back on their feet, and because they have these fabulous professional skill set. All they need to do is how to figure out, to hone in on those job search skills. That's where we come in. We don't, they come with those professional skills. We just help them kind of lead the way and kind of show them what works and what's not so effective. Right. And we have a great success rate. Typically, when we do our surveys, about 70% of those who are still job seeking when they complete the program find employment within 0 to 6-7 months. So some get employment like as they're taking the class, and so it varies.
Yeah.
But our whole goal is for our job seekers to find meaningful employment, because because if you just take a job because you need a job and you're feeling that desperation, you're just kicking your job search down the road another 6 months.
That's right.
So it's something that it's meaningful to you, but that can support you, if financially. And we believe that you can enjoy and love what you do and be paid for it. So we love volunteer work and we support volunteer work, but that doesn't have to be the only meaningful work you can do. You can enjoy your paid work as well.
Okay.
And so our program helps individuals find that passion and find that kind of their way into achieving that.
Well, that multi-day workshop, it sounds like it's a very critical program, but what really helps people, the scholarships, and then that mentoring piece. So you mentioned not leaving people hanging, but still carrying them through the process so that they can find that meaningful job opportunity. That's amazing. I would love to do maybe like a mock session right now. So just to help people out and give them some tips. Particularly around LinkedIn, because I know a lot of professionals use it as a tool to connect with people. So if you were looking at my LinkedIn page, I already have my profile, my headshot, I have where I've worked before, my work history, and maybe a few articles that I've clicked like on that resonate with the field that I want to be in. What other tips would you give to me to be successful there?
Well, I think, and we do LinkedIn training as well.
Okay.
So we offer the LinkedIn training during the class, and then our fabulous facilitator, Dr. Barnes, does LinkedIn training as well, like a 2-day LinkedIn boot camp.
Okay.
And so, basically, I mean, you want your LinkedIn page, your profile, to be forward thinking. It's not like, I did this, I did this. It's what you're looking for, and you want to highlight that skill set of what you want to be doing.
Okay.
So if you don't want to be emphasizing, like if you did X, Y, and Z, but that's not what you want to do anymore. What you do is you take the skills that you did in X, Y, and Z, and you apply them in a way that will be transferable into your new career set. So, so it's valuable real estate, and it's different than a resume. It is forward thinking and what you want to be doing as opposed to what you did.
Wow, thanks so much for that. We only have about 1 minute left,
and
I can ask you so many more questions. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us in those 60 seconds that perhaps we haven't discussed in today?
Oh my gosh. Well, we do have a technology component too.
Okay.
And so it's called our Career Tech Programming, and it's optional. But it's a component of the Career Gateway after the 5-day program. And we have classes in Excel, PowerPoint, Windows/Word. We do a 2-day LinkedIn boot camp, as I mentioned, and then we offer a new offering called Becoming a Cyber Savvy 50+ Job Seeker, where we will take our job seekers and have them learn about AI and ChatGPT and make it their friend, and really talk about how it can be applicable and enhance their job search. So how it can enhance their resume, how it can enhance their cover letter. Not to write it for you, but to really still be your voice.
Yes.
But support you in your in really making you the best presentation that you could be to these employers.
That's right. Jody, thanks so much for our conversation.
Thank you.
I know that finding employment for older adults can really be challenging. So the advice that you shared, all of the information that you gave us about your programs, I hope that folks really do log on to your website and learn more about how they can be a part, should they or when they need your services.
Yes,
so
thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, that concludes our program for today. As you can see, the voices of those 50+ matter every day and in every way. To learn more about services for seniors in Montgomery County, please visit the Montgomery County Seniors website by visiting montgomerycountymd.gov/senior or call the Senior Resource Line at 240-777-3000. And as always, thank you for watching 50+ in Montgomery County.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls: 311. MC311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
An estimated 124,000 tons of food scraps are thrown away each year in Montgomery County. Reducing food waste begins with you. Here's how. Plan meals in advance, make a shopping list, and check expiration dates. Cook the food you buy. Cook smaller portions to reduce leftovers. Save extra food in reusable containers. Add a label with the contents and date. Let's keep food out of the waste stream and aim for zero waste. Visit montgomerycountymd.gov/reduce food waste or call 311 to learn more.
Are you an age 50-plus job seeker looking for employment opportunities? JCA's employment programs can help. The Career Gateway is an intensive 5-day job search training program for the 50-plus professional. Class starts June 9th. And all age 50-plus job seekers, join us Tuesday, May 13th at the free Montgomery County Virtual 50-Plus Employment Expo. Register today at accessjca.org.